You are now locked in the Conspiracy Asylum. The conspiracy. You are now locked in the Conspiracy Asylum. The Conspiracy Asylum. You are now locked in the Conspiracy Asylum. Your straitjacket and padded cell awaits.
Hello and welcome to the Conspiracy Asylum. This is DJ Schwartz and I love buttholes. You heard it right. I love buttholes. And this is the Conspiracy Asylum and this is DJ Schwartz once again, and I'm here with the K to the I to the M-M-Y.
Ironically, he doesn't even call me that. It's usually, hey you.
Yeah. Hey bitch. No, I don't do that because I don't want to get hit.
Yes,
but
asshole.
Today on Conspiracy Asylum, we're going to be discussing bind, torture, kill, BTK.
Sign me up for 2 out of the 3 of those.
Torture and kill?
No!
Torture and kill? That's what I want to happen to my butthole. I want somebody to torture and kill it. On a side note, we had an argument about duvet today. I didn't know what the fuck a duvet was. I thought it was like a valance for a window or some shit. And she's like, come help me with this duvet. And then I'm like, it's a blanket. And she's like, no, it's a duvet because you gotta put a cover over it. It's a fucking goddamn quilt. That's what it is.
I wouldn't need one if someone wouldn't eat ice cream in our bed.
I'm
and then
fat. I'm fat.
And you freaking get chocolate, like syrup or whatever, all over our comforter, and it's gross. And I just want to be able to just take it off and wash it easy. And
well, you know what? That's how life goes.
If somebody wouldn't eat in my freaking bed, I wouldn't have a problem. As long as you aren't bringing, like, toaster shit in the bed, because, man, crumbs drive me fucking crazy.
Like toaster strudels.
Oh, my God.
I could bring, like, a 12-pack. I could down a 12-pack of them bitches. For show.
You eat those in our bed, and I will kill
Strawberry
you.
cream cheese. That's what it looks like when I nut strawberry cream cheese. Because I've got problems.
Maybe you should go to the doctor. That shouldn't be happening. Don't come near me till you get that figured out.
Alright, now that Kim got us off track, let's get back on track here. Conspiracy Asylum Trivia. Conspiracy Asylum Trivia this week is sponsored by Ben Gay Butthole Cream. No, it's not. It's not sponsored by anything.
It's sponsored by your mom.
By your mother. Whoever's listening, your mother is sponsoring this bullshit right now. Now, Conspiracy Asylum Trivia. Last week, the question was, true or false, current humans are descendants of Homo Neanderthals? True or false? What's the answer, babe?
Well, it's surprisingly false.
Yes,
See,
it's
I didn't
not
know
obviously false. A lot of people think that we are descendants of Neanderthals.
And I was one of those people.
Yes.
Until we actually did the research.
When we were debating in that episode, we were like, are we sure that Neanderthals still don't exist? Because we know a lot of dumb people.
Right. My ex-husband being one.
And we all have our dumb moments, too, and you would assume that would come from the Neanderthals. But this week, the trivia question is going to be on the last episode. And the last episode that we did was on Hitler's escape. Other than the theory that he escaped to Argentina, other than the theory that he escaped to the South Pole, other than the theory that he escaped to somewhere in America, what was one of the other places that he supposedly might have escaped to, according to conspiracy theorists? So other than Argentina, the South Pole, and like Ohio.
It was like California.
Yeah, it was somewhere weird, but it's somewhere out of this world. That's my clue. But hit us up, theconspiracyasylum@gmail.com. You can also hit us up at kim@conspiracyasylum.com, or you can hit us up with longdong@conspiracyasylum.com.
Don't choke on that one, okay, guys?
I haven't been able to change it yet, so it's kind of... I'll try and change it here soon. So that might be changing if you're listening to this in the future. Hi,
I'd
future.
laugh if you went to go type in your password and it told you it was too short.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Fuck you.
That was terrible. I guess I deserve that.
Yes, you do.
Conspiracy Asylum Trivia. Remember, hit us up on all the various points of contact. You can contact us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. Remember, $1, $10, you get 2 bonus episodes every month, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. You get stickers and shit, and you get to like pick a topic every month and shit. And if you want to go check it out, go check it out. Patreon.com/Conspiracy Asylum. You could also go to conspiracyasylum.com, and we have the links to all of our social media shit, including Patreon.
Side note, I want to give a shout out to our 2 Patreons now.
Yes.
Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your love and support.
And excuse me for the pronunciation, but I do believe it's Murray DeVee. Murray DeVee, I do believe. Thank you very much, dude. He clocked in at our $5 level, and he actually already gave me a suggestion for an episode, and we're going to be doing it here pretty soon. We got to do our first Patreon-sponsored episode for Tanner, and then I think that one's going to be the either demons or the cult of celebrities type of thing. So like the celebrity conspiracy theory, like Illuminati type of shit.
I almost broke into song of the cult of personality.
The cult of personality. I think of CM Punk when I hear that song. Fuck are you doing, cat?
The cat just like biffed it on a box.
And now he's looking at me all cute and shit. He fucking jumped into a goddamn box.
Dad, I fucked up. I hurt myself. Because
it's tax time and we went on Amazon. That's part of the reason why I got a new microphone. Because it's fucking tax time. So yeah, he clocked in at our $5 level. Thank you very much, dude. I've been messaging him. Now, with his episode, he already suggested one that we are going to do here pretty soon. And it's kind of similar to this episode. I wish I would have thought of it earlier. And it's Andre Chikatilo, who was a guy that his name is insanely fun to say. I gotta say, Chikatilo. Andre Chikatilo. But he was a serial killer from Russia. And he used to eat people and shit. And it's a very interesting story. He's similar to Albert Fish. It's like Russia's version of Albert Fish. Eventually we'll do that episode for him too. Hopefully within the next month here. I'm trying to plan those out as far in advance as I can so I can get as much research done for it so it's a good episode. But just yesterday, me and my buddy Evan did a Tupac episode, and that should be out here within the week. If you're hearing this on Friday, it should have already came out, but I'm not promising anything because it was a 3-hour recording.
Yeah, I don't think that this episode will even remotely come close to that.
Yeah, I really hope not, because then I would be really tired at work tomorrow.
Indeed.
But like I've said several times before, Conspiracy Asylum, me and Kim and anybody that's on Conspiracy Asylum understands before we even record that we do care about the mental health of our co-conspirators and everybody around the world. And we also do care about the people that we mention in these episodes, because most of the time we're talking about murders and we're talking about real people. And I've said it so many times, we get lost in the shit. So remember that it's real people. Have some respect. I make jokes and shit, but remember, they're just jokes. I'm not trying to disrespect the family whatsoever. I want to give you guys the facts about mental health.
Menthol
health?
Yes, menthol health.
I want to give you guys a fact about mental health. 1.1% of Americans, that's basically 1 in 100 Americans, suffer from schizophrenia. And 2.6% of Americans have bipolar. 6.9% of Americans have major depression. And 18.1% of Americans have an anxiety disorder.
Ding ding me.
Exactly. You're more than likely at 18%. That's 1 in 5, basically.
Right.
You're going to run into at least a couple of your friends that got some type of anxiety disorder and stuff like that. I think the contributing factor to that is how society has evolved over the years. A lot of people say, oh, people are just too sensitive now and all these diseases are just coming out of nowhere. No, it's the product of the generation before us fucking
Right.
shit up.
It
so
was no, it's more like how your upbringing was too, and how the 90s.
that's more with anxiety. I think
Right.
anxiety is more environmental than it is.
well, and if you have emotional
genetic.
abuse anywhere, that tends to happen.
I couldn't
quite
imagine.
often.
I got pretty lucky as a kid. I wasn't really. I had a pretty good childhood. And I don't mean to brag about that because I know a lot of people go through a bunch of shit, but I do, in a certain fact, do brag about it because I feel very fortunate. I'm very grateful that I had a good childhood because I see so many people that have had terrible childhoods. And me and Evan were just talking yesterday about he's having troubles with his baby mama drama and stuff like that, and I've had troubles with my baby mama. We were talking about how fathers are treated and how it's coming full circle. It was back in the 80s and 90s when a bunch of kids that I know that were born in the 80s and the 90s, their dads dipped. They just ran. But now those kids are full grown and have their own kids, and those fathers want to be around because they don't want to have to do that to their own kid. They don't want their kid to go through the same life that they did. So it's just interesting that the last generation that makes fun of the millennial generation really is the one that fucks shit up so fucking bad.
Right.
But this episode is on BTK. Bind, torture, kill. If you do not know about BTK or you don't even know what binding, torturing, and killing is, you probably haven't had fun during sex. No.
Yeah, pass on the kill part, please.
Not the kill part that you know of. That might be coming.
You're gonna end up like passing out during sex, and I'll be like, "I killed him! I killed him! Oh my god, I killed him!"
I was gonna say this is gonna be on Sword and Scale, fucking some of these quotes and shit, but Sword and Scale is dead because the guy fucking. Oh my god! If anybody's heard about what happened to Sword and Scale, it's shitty. I feel for Boudet, but I also at the same time he did a bunch of stupid shit.
What kind of name is Boudet?
Boudet is how it's spelled. But he's one of the motherfuckers that say it's booty.
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 Booty, booty,
Booty,
booty,
booty.
rocking everywhere.
Booty, 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 walking everywhere. Walking everywhere. Shout out to Bubba Sparks. Rest in peace, dog. Rest in peace.
Oh my god, he just went all like gangsta up in here. Put your arm down.
Rest in peace. I'm gonna pour out some of my Pepsi for Bubba Sparks.
You make a mess on my floor and you fucking clean it.
I won't do it. I don't want to clean right now. But if you don't know about BTK, don't know anything about his murders and shit like that took place in between the 70s and the 90s, do not fear. Conspiracy Asylum's got y'all back. We gonna educate that ass, and we gonna educate it good. We gonna bind, torture, and kill that ass.
Oh my god. But why though?
But why though? For those that do not know who BTK? For those that don't know who Burger King is. Oh my god, he was the Burger King. That's what he, wouldn't that be his shitty name? He gave himself that name though, BTK. But he was caught in the middle 2000s. His name is Dennis Rader. And we're going to kind of go through a background on him first, like we kind of like to do at Conspiracy Asylum. We kind of understand who this person is, regardless of him being a monster and being a terrible fucking person. He still was a person, so we like to get to know how he worked a little bit. So Dennis Rader, known as the BTK killer, Dennis Rader murdered 10 people in Wichita, Kansas. From 1974 to 1991, often leaving clues to taunt authorities. Yeah, he got away with it for a long time. If he didn't start killing again, because there were spaces in between where he didn't kill, because this guy had a family and shit too, so if he hadn't killed again in the early 90s, he would have never been caught. Who is Dennis Rader? He was born in 1945 in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Dennis Rader went on to live a double life. Devoted family man and company man by day, he also terrorized the Wichita, Kansas area as the BTK Killer, which stands for Bind, Torture, and Kill, with 10 murders and brazen correspondence with authorities between 1974 and 1991. Rader's alter ego resurfaced in 2004, but his penchant for leaving clues led to his arrest and life imprisonment the following year.
Dun dun dun.
They must not have the death penalty there.
Nope.
Because this motherfucker would have gotten killed if there was. He should have gotten killed. After you hear some of the details of his murders and shit, how he'd fucking kill people and then masturbate. Terrible person. He had an ordinary upbringing. Dennis Lynn Rader. His little middle name is Lynn and it's spelt like the girl Lynn. That's a girl's middle name. Why would you do that to your son? That's the reason he became a serial killer. Dennis Lynn Rader was born on March 9th, 1945 in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and grew up in Wichita. The oldest of 4 sons, he enjoyed a seemingly normal childhood, reportedly masking such disturbing behavior as hanging stray animals. Jesus fuck.
Nobody watched him, obviously.
Give this kid some fucking Ritalin. Jesus fucking Christ. Fucking trank this kid.
$10 says his daddy beat him.
Probably. Rader dropped out of college and joined the U.S. Air Force in the mid-60s. After returning to Wichita, he married his wife, Paula, in 1971 and worked for an outdoor supply company for about a year. In 1974, he began a lengthy stint as an employee of ADT Security Systems, and that's one of the reasons that he was able to break into so many people's homes, was because he worked for ADT.
Right, so it's kind of like the crooked cop kind of deal.
He has the background of every serial killer pretty much ever. Any serial killer you hear of, they tortured animals when they were a kid. Other than that, most of them had a normal upbringing. Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't abused. Nothing like that, which was originally going to be the episode I was going to do before this, before the Tupac thing came up. But yeah, he started his career in murdering at a fairly late age. I mean, 1945, he was...
And when did he start?
1974.
Okay, so he was about, what, 30?
Yeah, he was almost 30 years old. The thing is most serial killers, you hear about them starting to actually kill people at a very young age. You see, like, mid-teens most of the time that a serial killer will start killing people. Now, a lot of serial killers do claim that they have killed more than they have, just because they already know they're going to get the worst punishment in the world, and then they just claim more and more.
They just want street credit?
Yeah, basically. They just want their numbers to be up there. There was one guy, Henry Lee Lucas, who was the confession killer, and he actually confessed to such murders as Adam Walsh and JonBenet Ramsey. For one, Adam Walsh, he was in prison at the time. JonBenet Ramsey, he wasn't even close to Boulder, Colorado at the time. And there's proof, obviously, being in jail. He's accounted for. They know he wasn't out. So this guy had claimed like 500 murders or some shit. And a lot of them were ones that they couldn't substantiate, so they kind of had to take his word for it and shit like that. But let's, you want to dive right into his first fucking murders, babe?
Sure.
Okay, hold on.
Where do you want me to go?
Where
do we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go?
Sweet child of mine!
Oh my god.
Oh, 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 where do we go now? Where do we go now, sweet child?
Okay, now we're all deaf. Thank you.
He ended up having a couple of kids with Paula, and actually one of his kids wrote a book recently and just released it not too long ago. It's really fucked up because her entire life, like, she had a whole lifetime, like, into her 20s, that she didn't know her dad was a serial killer. Like, that's so fucked.
Yeah, that is pretty fucked up.
That is fucked.
I'd hate myself if I found out that my dad was a serial killer. I feel like that burden would fall on me.
There was reports that Mrs. Rader, Paula Rader, she was telling Dennis Rader one night when they were watching the news that she was so afraid of BTK. That she was so afraid of him, everything like that. And then they played his voice because they said he had sent something to the police department. And they played his voice, and Paula looked over at him and was like, and she said it jokingly, she's like, BTK sounds like you. And a normal person might, laugh it off to try and make themselves not look guilty. He got pissed.
Oh, Jesus.
He got pissed and fucking, stomped out and shit.
Well, that's one way to make yourself look really fucking obvious.
No shit, right? What a fucking dumbass. But we're gonna get on to the first murders here. We're gonna get into the gruesome shit right fucking now.
You gonna let me climb on and take over?
Yeah, she's gonna climb onto this wiener.
Just take over from here now.
She's just gonna
Stop
fucking...
talking.
No. Okay, first murders.
Okay. All right, we'll discuss the first murders. On January 15th, 1974, Rader strangled to death 4 members of the Otero family in their Wichita home. Parents Joseph and Julie, and 2 of their children, Josephine and Joseph Jr. Wow, they are really, really good at naming their children there. Before leaving with a watch and a radio. So he just took off with a watch and a radio. That's it. Okay, cool. Strangulation and souvenir taking become part of his modus operandi, or pattern of behavior. He also left semen at the scene and later said that he derives sexual pleasure from killing. The Otero's 15-year-old son, Charlie, came home later that day to discover the bodies. Rader struck again a few months later, on April 4th, 1974. He waited in the apartment of a young woman named Catherine Bright, before stabbing and strangling her when she returned home. Rader also twice shot her brother, Kevin, though he survived. Kevin later described Rader as an average-sized guy, bushy mustache, psychotic eyes, according to a Time magazine article.
And the one thing I gotta say is that there was actually... I'm trying to find it right now, but there was a murder that happened, and an attempted murder that happened right before this, and it's pretty obvious that it was BTK, but he botched it. And he almost got caught, and he doesn't take credit for that one to this day because it was botched. He feels ashamed because of it. But yeah, you can go into when he went public for the first time.
BTK goes public. In October 1974, Rader placed a letter in a public library book in which he took responsibility for killing the Oteros. The letter ended up in the local newspaper. The poorly written note gave authorities some idea of who they were dealing with. Rader wrote, "It's hard to control myself. You probably call me psychotic with sexual perversion hanging up." He warned that he would strike again, noting, "The code words for me will be bind them, torture them, and kill them. BTK. The initials stuck, and the murderer came to be known by variations of the BTK killer moniker, or simply BTK. Rader's next known crimes occurred in 1977. In March of that year, he tied up and strangled Shirley Vane after locking her children in the bathroom. In December, he strangled Nancy Fox in her home, and then called police to report the homicide. Shortly afterwards, in January 1978, Rader sent a poem to the local newspaper about the Vane killing. Several weeks later, he sent a letter to the local television station stating that he was responsible for killing Vane. Several weeks later, he sent a letter to the local television station stating that he was responsible for killing Vane, Fox, and another unknown victim. He also made allusions to several other notorious killers, including Ted Bundy, including Ted Bundy and David Berkowitz, also known as the Son of Sam.
He was the one, if you don't know who David Berkowitz was, he was around the same time in the 70s, and he's the one that said that his dog made him do it. That his dog was talking to him and telling him to kill people. Oh yeah, no, he was way out there. He was way crazy.
Yeah, and you were just responding. I didn't say anything because I was making the cuckoo crazy circle around my head.
Yes, she was.
Despite his cat and mouse game with authorities, Rader was able to keep the lid on his secret murderous life. Reportedly an attentive husband, he and his wife had a son in 1975 and a daughter in 1978. The next year, Rader graduated from Wichita State University with a degree in Administration of Justice. Still, he continued to taunt authorities and appeared to be poised to strike again. In 1979, Rader waited in an elderly woman's home, but left before she returned. He sent her a letter to let her know that BTK had been there before. In an effort to catch him, the authorities released the 1977 recording of his phone call to police, hoping that someone would recognize that voice.
Yeah, and that's the voice that I was talking about. That his wife had noticed and looked over at him and said, "Hey, that sounds like you." And he freaked out.
After several years without a known crime, Rader killed his neighbor, Maureen Hedge, on April 27th, 1985. Her body was found days later on the side of the road. The following year, he killed Vicky Wedgerly. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, close enough.
Vicky Wegerly.
Yeah, close enough.
In her home. His final known victim, Dolores Davis, was taken from her home on January 19th, 1991. Return, arrest, and imprisonment. Over the next several years, BTK had dropped off the map as Rader focused on work and family life. He had left ADT in the late 1980s. He started working for the Wichita suburb of Park City as a compliance supervisor in 1991. In his new position, Rader was known to be a stickler for the rules. He measured the height of people's lawns. He chased stray animals while toting a tranquilizer gun. Oh, I bet you that was fun for him.
Oh my god, yeah.
According to the reports, Rader took pleasure in exerting his limited authority over his neighbors and other members of the community. He also was a Boy Scout troop leader, that's terrifying, and president of his church council, because he's a man of God now.
I'd rather have Big Gay Al.
With many news stories making the 30th anniversary of the Otero Murders, BTA.
Fine torture asses.
With many news stories marking the 30th anniversary of the Otero Murders, BTK resurfaced in 2004. Rader sent local media outlets and authorities several letters filled with items related to his crimes. According to the pictures, a word puzzle and an outline for the BTK story. He also left packages of clues, including a computer disk that ultimately led authorities to Rader's church.
Yeah, he didn't understand technology too well, and he didn't think he'd be able to get tracked by a floppy disk. He left a floppy, not like a flaccid penis, but a floppy disk.
A floppy dick.
A floppy dick.
Uh-huh.
You know I got the floppy dick.
He sent them his floppy dick. Anyway.
Yes.
Investigators also noticed his white van on security tapes of some of the package drop-off areas and cemented their case by obtaining a DNA sample from Rader's daughter. Oh.
Yep.
Dude, you shouldn't be
masturbating. She was more than cooperative with police on that shit. She was not going to protect her dad when it came to this shit, which I do not blame her.
Rader was arrested on February 25th, 2005, and later charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. His neighbors and fellow church members were stunned by the news, unable to believe that the man that they knew was the serial killer that had haunted the area for so long. Rader pleaded guilty to all of the charges on June 27th, 2005. As part of his plea, he gave the horrifying details of his crimes in court. Many observers noted that he described the gruesome events without any sign of remorse or emotion. Because he committed his crimes before the state's 1994 reinstatement of the death penalty, Rader was sent to El Dorado Correctional Facility to serve his 10 life sentences.
Fuck that. I guess they can't do that, but it's still fucked, man.
Depictions in pop culture. Rader's story inspired the Stephen King's novella A Good Marriage, which was published as part of the 2010 collection Full Dark, No Stars, and later became a feature film. In 2016, forensic psychology professor Catherine Ramsland published Confession of a Serial Killer, the untold story of Dennis Rader, the BTK killer, which revealed the notorious murderer had planned to claim an 11th victim before he was arrested. In October of 2017, Netflix's crime drama Mindhunter was released to critical acclaim. One of the serial killer characters, known as ADT Man on the show, is based on Rader's bias.
No, Mindhunter, I've been meaning to watch that shit. They reference a lot of serial killers, I do believe, on that show. From what I've seen, it's been Dennis Rader and the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. I think it's mostly about Ted Kaczynski from what I've seen. I don't know. It's an episodic type of show. So that was kind of a quick rundown of just everything BTK did and when he got convicted and everything like that. We are going to go through not every one of his murders, but I do want to go through the first set of murders that he did.
Did he have consistency with the binding, torturing, and killing then?
Yes.
So he bound all of them the same way, tortured and killed them all.
Not the same way. He, as anybody in a trade would do, he improved his technique over time.
Oh.
And he was another one, though, that couldn't stay out of the media. He had to have attention for his shit. That's why he sent shit in like voice messages. Like, you're a fucking dumbass, dude. Most serial killers are above average intelligence. Most of them are.
Yeah, but that's not common sense, though.
No, it's not. A lot of people with fetal alcohol syndrome have that, where they have a high IQ, but their sense of common sense isn't there. Bill Clinton, not to make a joke or anything, but Bill Clinton, he was a fetal alcohol baby. And that is the reason that he has such a high IQ and he's a very smart person, but he doesn't have common sense, so he just lets interns suck his dick. That's just an example. We're going to go through a rundown on his very first murders, the Otero murders. Now, there is speculation. I can't say that it was him, but there was a botched attempted murder right before the Otero murders in Wichita, Kansas, but they couldn't prove it was Dennis Rader, and Dennis Rader did not want to admit it. Now, he named a lot of his murders like Project something, and I'm not sure what he called the Oteros, but they got that from writings, but they could never prove that one, so it's not really an official murder by him. The first official murders by BTK were the Otero family. Now, around 8 o'clock on the morning of January 15th, Rader snuck around to the back of the Otero house and cut the phone line. That was one of his calling cards, that he'd cut the phone line every time. And when people were finding out about BTK, they were calling their own house before they went home in Wichita, Kansas. So they would know if their phone line is cut. And if their phone line was cut, they wouldn't go home because they would think BTK is there. That's how crazy Wichita, Kansas got at that point. And I can't really blame them because they didn't catch this guy till the fucking 90s.
Right.
You know? And I can't really blame the police because it's not like TV. A lot of people don't understand. that it's not CSI Miami. This isn't Law and Order SVU, where it only takes an hour and a half for them to catch the motherfucker. Most of the time they don't catch the guy because they don't leave enough DNA behind. And even if they catch the guy, they might not have enough evidence to actually convict him. So it takes a lot of hard work to actually convict a killer. Now, a serial killer, in my opinion, would probably be easier to convict because of the amount of murders, sheer odds that you're going to fuck up somewhere.
I have a quick little thing I wanted to add in here, and this is from BuzzFeed. It's just kind of fun, and I kind of thought about it. The average person walks past at least 16 murderers in their lifetime.
Yes.
So, just to freak you guys out a little, I thought that would be good to kind of throw in there right now.
Now, what do you qualify as a murderer, though?
That is a good question.
Like, would you qualify somebody in self-defense killing somebody a murderer?
Right, because
they committed murder.
Right, because then police officers would fall underneath that.
Well, and soldiers.
True story.
And I thank any soldier that I see. I tell my kids, every time you do see a soldier, you thank that motherfucker. And you say, thank you for serving our country. Same thing with cops. Just down to the technical term of murder is just killing somebody. That statistic could be kind of skewed. Now, is it out of the convicted murderers that kill out of cold blood? Or is it anybody that's ever killed a person?
Wow, you really just took my fun little thing and just shot it all to hell now, didn't you, asshole?
Little bit.
Thank you. Thank you so much for ruining my fun and just pissing
pieces.
on my parade over here, dick.
I R. Kelly'd all over that shit.
Yes, he did.
I'm gonna piss on you.
Yeah, he fucking pissed all over that.
Pee, 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 poo, poo, poo. Okay, so he had cut the phone line. He broke through the back door and found that things were not as he had planned. The entire family of 4 sat inside along with a rather vicious family dog. Now, when they say that did not go as planned, he used to case these places. He worked at ADT. It was easy for him to basically call a person and say they would call ADT when they were going to be out of town. And they'd say, hey, we're going to be out of town. If the alarm goes off, come here as fast as you can because it's not us. And he would know if people were out of town and when they were going to be back. He wanted to know these people's schedules. Now, he said that it wasn't like he thought it was going to be because he wasn't as experienced yet and he hadn't cased the place as much as he liked to. The entire family of 4 sat inside with a rather vicious family dog. At gunpoint, Rader ordered the father, Joe Otero, 38 years of age, to take the dog into the backyard. He told them that he was a wanted criminal on the run and he just needed food, money, and a vehicle. Rader directed everyone to lie down in the living room and then herded them into the bathroom. The Otero family allowed Rader to bind them as they believed all he wanted was money. But they were mistaken. Rader placed a bag over the father's head and used a cord to subdue and kill Joe Otero. He then moved to the mother, Julie Otero, 34 years of age. He tried to strangle her with his bare hands, but it took several attempts before he was successful in murdering her. Don't you hate that when you just try to strangle somebody and it doesn't work?
Fucking die.
Doesn't work.
Nope.
That's why you use a garrote. I'm just kidding.
Christ.
Okay, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. Okay, 9-year-old Joey Otero was next to die. He was found face down on his bedroom floor with a bag over his head. Rader had apparently brought a chair into the bedroom to sit and watch the child die.
Oh my
what
God.
The fuck, man.
Wow. Was he a father at this point?
I don't think so. I don't think so yet.
Good Lord.
11-year-old Josie Otero was taken to the basement and hung from a noose tied around a sewer pipe. She was left partially naked, and police discovered semen on the pipe behind the young girl. After the brutal murder, Rader proceeded to clean up and take a few souvenirs with him.
Clean up, but yet leave his semen behind.
He also took the Otero station wagon and nearly got into an accident backing out of the driveway.
Oh, that's nice.
From there, he drove to the Dillon's supermarket. A woman later testified that she saw Rader get out of the vehicle, shaking like a leaf. Then he threw the keys onto the roof of the market and realized that he had left a knife at the Otero residence.
Fuck.
He claimed to have driven his car back to their residence and retrieved the knife from their yard. Rader was unaware that there were 3 other Otero children who had left for school prior to his arrival: Charlie, 15, Daniel, 14, and Carmen, 13. They found their family dead when they returned home from school. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, they're teenagers, but they are fucked for life. Now, when they say that they found semen on the pipe, he never raped anybody. From what he claims, he never raped anybody, and there wasn't really signs of rape, but what he would do is he would masturbate to them dying. It was really fucked.
Yeah, that's really fucking sick.
It was really, it's really sick, man. But like we had said, that was the first murders that he had committed. There were several other ones, obviously, that he committed. There's one I really wanted to go over. After he was done murdering whoever and binding and torturing and killing this motherfucker, he went out of the house and he was driving the very same vehicle that the victim had. So they both had the same vehicle. He grabbed the wrong keys.
Whoa.
He was going to grab the keys to his car, and he accidentally grabbed the keys to the other car. He ended up driving off with the wrong car. I don't know what came out of it. He had left the keys inside. I think it was the botched one that he did before. But it was a really fucked up situation where he ended up taking off with the wrong car.
Nice.
Right? Like,
Nice.
How fucking stupid can you be, for real? His victims, I kind of want to list off. We already listed off the victims of the first murders, the Otero murders. He had 10 in total. He spaced them out pretty good. Catherine Bright was April 4th, 1974. Shirley Vane was March of 1977. And Nancy was also that same month in 1977. Anna Williams was the one that we talked about, was April of 1979. And then there was Margarine Hedge in April of 1985. Vicky Wedgerly, September of 1986. Dolores Davis, 1991. So Dolores Davis was the last one.
So Granny didn't make it out alive.
Well, the one that was his neighbor, he actually cased her for a while, and he felt the urge. The thing is he would get this urge with a certain person, and then he would stake out their house. He would make a plan. He'd go in there. He'd commit the murders, do the binding, torturing, and killing, and then he'd masturbate all over the fucking place.
It was Marine Hedge.
Okay, Marine Hedge. He had cased her for a little bit, and this is after he's married. Marine Hedge was the one in 1985, I
Howdy
believe.
doody, neighboroonie.
In April of 1985, Dennis Rader, now 40 years old, was a busy family man with a full-time job, a position as the scout leader of his son's Boy Scout troop, and was very active in the church. But despite all of this, by Rader's own admissions, he had never stopped trolling for victims. Once, while attending a Boy Scout camp with his son, Rader left camp in the evening, stating that he had a headache. But that night, Rader chose to visit Marine Hedge, the 53-year-old neighbor who had lost her husband about a year prior. After stopping for a beer and leaving his car at the bowling alley, Rader took a cab to Park City to the home of Marine Hedge. Rader severed the phone line and entered the house, but found no one at home. He decided to hide in a bedroom closet and watched as Marine and a male friend entered the home several hours later. Marine was going to get her freak on. but her plans changed. He waited patiently until the male friend left at about 1 in the morning. When Maureen turned out the light and went to bed, Rader crept out of the closet and turned on the bathroom light. Without hesitation, he jumped onto the woman and strangled her in her bed. He then proceeded to drag the body along the bedding to her car and placed her in the trunk. He took the body to the church he attended, which he had keys to, and dragged Maureen's lifeless body into the basement of the church. He proceeded to tape black plastic over the windows and then posed the body in various positions while he took photographs of her.
Oh,
when he
Jesus.
was, yeah, exactly. When he was finished, Rader took the body and dumped it in a shallow grave outside of Park City. He then returned to his vehicle and wiped down the car for prints before taking it back to camp. So while his kid was sleeping at this Boy Scout camp, and he's a troop leader, he's like, oh, I got a fucking migraine, and then he goes and he kills a bitch. And then comes back.
I'm good now.
My migraine's gone.
Yeah.
I'm full of
She
blood.
must have been a nagging bitch up his back.
Oh my
breathing
God.
down his neck.
No, he had been scouting Marine Hedge, though, for a while.
Because he's a Boy Scout leader. Oh my God, that's grand.
I didn't even do that on purpose.
Walk right into that one.
Oh my God, I didn't even do
Scouting.
that on purpose, but that was awesome, babe. I'm glad you caught that. But yeah, he was stalking her for quite a while. He had this thing, he described it. We'll see him describe his own crimes. He described it as he got an urge. He couldn't satisfy that urge until he killed that person that he couldn't get out of his head. So Marine Hedge was one of them. I don't know why a woman 13 years older than you in their 50s is somebody that you feel like you have to kill and then skeet all over her house. I have no idea, but
Jesus.
that's what he did, though. He just fucking he killed the motherfucker and then just skeet all over the house.
Oh my God.
So what? Blame Dennis Rader. But yeah, like we had said before, eventually in 2004, after him sending several letters to the police and sending several clues to the police, leaving clues all over the place, he was finally detained by police. And he eventually got convicted. His confession and how he described killing these people in his own words is what's really interesting about this story, because he really didn't give no fucks. If you've seen a picture of this guy, he doesn't look like a normal serial killer.
I gotta go look at him now.
Yeah, look him up, Dennis Rader. He looks like he could be your dad. He could be your grandpa. He could be your uncle.
He's the same age as my dad, actually.
1945?
Well, Dad was born in 1944, but yeah.
Yeah, in the same age. Dennis the Menace Rader.
Well, he definitely looks grumpy enough to be my dad. Holy shit.
But yeah, doesn't he just look like a normal dude,
if
though?
you've watched F is for Family on Netflix, he kind of looks like that dad.
Oh my God, he does. What's funny about that show, though, that they've made references to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Did they?
On that show, yeah. They had little Jeffrey Dahmer. They had fucking, because it was about the same age as Bill Burr. Jeffrey Dahmer was a little kid at the time, and freaking Dad's name tag said Dahmer on it, and he called him Jeffrey, and he had these glasses on and shit, and he looked like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, well, why didn't you point that shit out to me? I totally missed that.
There was another one I pointed out to you, and you didn't know. It was another serial killer, I think. F is for Family is kind of famous for that. They throw a lot of true crime shit into that show.
Yeah, don't watch it around your children. Don't be dumb.
No, it's kind of like...
Yeah, it may be a cartoon, but it's not like your King of the Hill.
Big Mouth.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not like the King of the Hill variety where you can leave your small child in the room.
Right.
No, don't do that.
No, my kids will watch King of the Hill and Futurama and all that shit, but we do not let them watch Big Mouth, and we do not let them watch F is for Family. Now, F is for Family would be before Big Mouth for sure, but Big Mouth, oh my God.
Right.
That one's pretty,
That's raunchy.
that one gets pretty raunchy there. And we're back. I'm just kidding. We splitted this up into two. We splitted it.
You splitted it.
We splitted it right in half.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, we can't stay up late anymore because we're fucking old as shit. Now, on March 19th, 2004, a letter arrives at the Wichita Eagle containing a photocopy of Wegerle's driver's license and photos of her body. Police link to BTK. Like we had said before, he likes to taunt the police. And he had been doing that since 1974. He needed to be in the limelight, so in 2004, this was the 30-year anniversary of the original murders, January 15th, 1974. And he had sent that in on March 19th, 2004, because people were talking about BTK at that point, because it was 30 years since his first crime. So his happy
ass felt like bragging, and it got him in trouble.
Yep, because on February 25th, 2005, after receiving several more letters, authorities arrested Dennis Rader. Besides the 8 slayings already attributed to BTK, he is charged with the killing of Maureen Hedge, 53, in April of 1985, and Dolores Davis, 62, in January of 1991. We covered both of those. June 27th, 2005, Rader pleads guilty to 10 counts of murder, first-degree murder. He basically claimed no contest. He knew he was going to rot in jail for the rest of his life. And the fact that there was the stipulation that he had committed these crimes before 1994, so they couldn't give him the death penalty, which I really wish they would have been able to kill this dude. Thinking about it also, in my opinion, some of these people, putting them in jail for the rest of their lives is more torture than killing them. Because killing them, then they're fucking done. It's over with.
Well, no, and I don't remember what country it was, but when you are, sentenced to a death sentence, they don't tell you what day they're gonna, either electrocute you or inject you with anything. So you never know waking up, like, if that's going to be your last day. And I feel
that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I feel like that the U.S. should really adopt that. That way you'd have to wake up wondering if this is going to be your last meal or, is this your last dump you're taking of your life? And
right. Is this the last time I'm going to be able to enjoy pooping?
Uh-huh.
Is this the last time I'm going to be able to plug my asshole?
Last time I can fuck Frank before I go.
Fucking Frank. Gotta fuck that Franker. But after he had pled guilty, he described all of his crimes in court. The victims' families had to sit and watch. They didn't have to sit and watch, but they decided to sit and watch because they wanted to see the motherfucker that has been putting them through hell for the last 30 years in some cases. I remember when this guy was caught.
I would never really watch TV all that much.
It was it was national news when he got caught, and
I think I was 14, 15 years old, so I was pretty busy, doing important teenage things with my boyfriend at the time.
Yes.
Well,
I was doing a bunch of drugs at the time, so I'm surprised that I even remember it, but I remember the infamous video of him being interviewed on a public access channel, and he looks like he's dressed up like a cop. Now, I can't find a lot on him being a cop, though. I keep on thinking he was a cop because I envision him being interviewed on public access with, it's either a cop uniform on or a rent-a-cop uniform on.
No, but he went to school for something like that. What was his degree in for...
What did he go to school for?
We read that the other day.
Because he was really stupid, though. Some people don't know that Dennis Rader was insanely stupid. Now, I think he had dyslexia or he had some other type of mental disease because the grammar in the letters that were sent to the police were insanely horrible. what I gotta say, we just Googled Dennis Rader to make sure that he was a cop or wasn't a cop. We needed to get our facts straight. And we found out he was not a cop.
He was a rent-a-cop.
He might have been a rent-a-cop, yes. He worked for ADT, which doesn't mean that he was a rent-a-cop at all. It means that he might have been in the call center, or he could have been one of the people that got sent out. Because I could have sworn when he got caught back in 2005 that they had showed a video of him like with a uniform on and a badge and shit. So maybe it was an ADT uniform. Who knows? But when he was in court, like we were saying, he had to describe all of his murders. He didn't have to, but he did. And he had a lot of writings about his murders. And like we were saying about his intelligence. Now, the intelligence level of Dennis Rader, people claim anywhere from 75 to 85.
And we're talking IQ score.
Yes. Thank you, baby. I see, that's why I need her. She keeps me in line. She lets me know when I fuck up.
Well, he likes to just think that way, but no, I mean, I just kind of make sure that he's got all his pieces glued together. He'd lose his head, you know.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing at all,
I'm here to
baby.
nag. I'm good at that.
You're not nagging.
I'm a nagger.
You're...
The look
Careful.
Careful.
We want more listeners, not less.
I did not
That
just
was
say that
that
horrible
was
name.
that was close. That was close. Okay, then. If you've got any complaints, you can hit up Kim at conspiracyasylum.com.
I said nag.
Nag. She said nag. So don't nag her. Okay? Get it? You get it. Oh my god.
I'm going to find the worst spam ever and just completely like cram your email full of it.
Okay, so this article was from NBC News, August 18th, 2005. The families of the victims got to confront Dennis Rader during the sentencing phase, and prosecutors offered chilling details into the BTK serial killer's reign of terror Wednesday, outlining his fascination with bondage, his desire to strengthen his hand muscles when he found it hard to choke victims, and a terrifying conversation he had with an 11-year-old girl before he killed her. During the first day of Dennis Rader's sentencing hearing, Detective Clint Schneider testified that the serial killer told investigators he used a squeeze ball to strengthen his grip after finding his hands numbed during strangulations. Don't you hate that?
Oh, I hate it when my hand goes numb strangling your...
Penis. I'll finish that for you. Penis. She gets a little wore out. Because it's really small and it's really hard to, find. In describing one killing, Rader told Snyder, "I'm sorry. I know this is a human being, but I'm a monster." So at least he knows his place. He knows he's a fucking monster. Now, that doesn't give him a right to fucking kill. Have a little fucking self-control, dude. You know how many people around the world want to kill somebody? And a lot of these people are like, I can't fucking control myself. Well, get over yourself. You can control yourself. There's plenty of people out there. Have you seen... there's a documentary on it. I haven't watched it yet because I felt like it would piss me off. But there's a guy that is a pedophile that's never engaged in any kind of pedophilia behavior. And he's never looked at kids porn or anything. And he's never touched kids or anything like that.
Then how is he a pedophile?
But he knows he is because he's attracted to children in a sexual way.
Oh.
And... it's a really taboo type of thing because he hasn't committed a crime, but he knows what he's thinking is wrong, but he can't stop himself from thinking it. So it's really it's an interesting thing. And
what's funny is I've actually heard of that before.
Right.
Yeah, I actually knew somebody that had thoughts like that, and they're not allowed near my children.
Right. No, see, it's really fucked up though. It's that type of person can't get help. They can't. who's going to help a pedophile?
Right. Well, and then, like, if they were to go seek help, they'd be like, well, who have you touched? Who have you hurt? What have you done?
Exactly. And then until you actually do something illegal, they don't constitute you as a pedophile, like you just said to me. Like, how is he a pedophile then?
Right.
Like, most people would think that way. How is he a pedophile? Well, he's still attracted to the children, but he just hasn't done anything yet. And yet is the key word. Rader, a 60-year-old former church congregation president and Boy Scout leader, pled guilty in June to 10 murders between 1974 and 1991. The slayings terrorized the Wichita area until Rader was arrested in February. The sentencing in many ways is a formality, with the only issue before the judge whether Rader will serve his 10 life sentences consecutively or concurrently. It doesn't really matter. But what's weird about all of that is that they have to take these crimes and stick them to a person. Now, that's why people do get wrongfully convicted in this country, because we're more focused on pinning it on somebody than trying to...
Sorry.
We're more focused on pinning it on somebody than to rehabilitating somebody. It's kind of bullshit. And I don't think this guy could ever be rehabilitated. I'm not saying that, but they need to stick every count that they can on him so that they can complete their paperwork, basically. So that's why they got 10 life sentences, even though it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, some people get 200 and something years plus life. It's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense, but they have to do it that way. Kansas had no death penalty at the time the killings were committed, but in 1994 they ended up reinstating the death penalty, but he committed them before 1994. Rader's long fascination with bondage was shown to the court in a photo he apparently took of himself wearing pantyhose and a bra and hanging from a pipe in the basement of his mother's home. Oh my God. Exchange with a young victim. Prosecutors projected to a screen Rader's recollection of the exchange he had with Josephine before he killed her. Alright, so this is the way we're going to do this one. I'll be Dennis Rader, you can be the little girl.
Oh, that's creepy. Okay.
Let's do this.
Alright. What's going to happen to me?
Well, honey, you're going to be in heaven with the rest of your family. Rader then hanged the girl and masturbated over her body. I remember problems with Josephine because her hair was in the way, Rader told investigators.
That sounds like a familiar problem.
That's fucked up, though, babe. Jesus Christ. Oh, that's a totally different scenario. Pretty soon my hair's going to be in the way of my vagina, because I've got a bushy vagina.
He does. Rader looked away briefly as crime scene photos were projected on the courtroom screen, but he otherwise appeared calm throughout the hearing, sipping water or occasionally taking notes on a legal pad. The hearing is expected to extend into Thursday and feature statements from the victims' relatives before Judge Gregory Waller imposes the sentence. Prosecutors want Rader to get the longest possible sentence, a minimum of 175 years without a chance of parole. Reliving a family tragedy. Wednesday's details were wrenching for the surviving Otero children, who found their parents dead when they came home from school in January 1974. They would learn later that their brother and sister were also dead. Well, weird. How would they go that long without knowing?
Well, I think they just saw their parents were dead. And I think they freaked out and left.
Oh.
Yeah.
Carmen Otero clutched an Afghan in the courtroom and nervously tapped her foot on the floor through much of the testimony. She was just 13 when she used a fingernail clipper to try and cut the gag off her dead mother's face.
Oh my God.
So she didn't just take off running. She just... That's sad.
It's fucked up.
The two brothers, Charlie and Danny, mostly crossed their arms through the testimony, occasionally wiping away a tear. But when prosecutors projected a close-up photo of Josephine on the screen, Charlie Otero became visibly flushed, buried his face in his lap, and cried. Rader looked on as KBI Special Agent Raymond London said the killer told authorities in an interview after his February 25th arrest that he targeted Josephine because he was attracted to Hispanics.
Oh my dear God. He liked the spicy salsa.
Oh my gosh. He said that he has always been attracted to Hispanic-looking people, dark eyes, dark hair, dark skin. He said Josie, it literally says Josie, not Jose, so yes.
Yes, that's Josie.
He said Josie was the one who caught his eye, and she was his target, London said. Cake TV?
Cake TV.
Rader told Cake TV.
It's KAKE TV, so it's like in Minnesota KSM or KM.
KSTP or Fox channel, Fox or
that's
WCCO.
Just the frequency.
KAKE, Cake TV.
Mm-hmm.
The Wichita station with which he had often communicated as BTK since the 1970s. That he was working on an emotional statement for his sentencing. I don't fucking care.
No shit, right?
In his confession, Rader, whose moniker stood for bind, torture, kill, said sexual fantasies drove him to commit the killings, which he had referred to as his projects.
Right.
That's interesting. Days after the confession, Rader called Cake from prison and told them that he had picked out an 11th victim before he was caught.
Of course he did. Those people don't stop until they get caught.
With the criminal case winding up, Rader now faces lawsuits from the families of his victims seeking to keep him from profiting from his crimes. Rader's ex-wife, Paula, has filed a petition to intervene in those cases, primarily to protect proceeds from the sale of their home.
Right. She didn't want him to make shit off of that.
Good, he doesn't deserve to.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't deserve shit. Motherfucker needs the dicotine. It's another candidate for the dicotine right there. Cut his dick off and gape his asshole. Remember, co-conspirators, shoot him in the foot and fuck them all to death. That's what we do to pedophiles. We shoot them in the foot and then we fuck them all to death.
So shooting them in the foot really is kind of pointless.
That's just a formality.
How do you fuck them to death?
Oh, you'll see. It's a promise I will keep.
I might get jealous.
BTK had detailed how he had killed all of his victims. And, oh man, we went over basically how he killed the majority of them. He got better and better at what he was doing. He was killing them by binding them up, and he wouldn't just let them die. He would make sure they stayed alive long enough for him to get his rocks off, basically. He wouldn't rape them, but he got pleasure out of them suffering, which is sick as fuck. We have a few more quotes from Mr. Rader during the trial, too. And he referred to his fantasies, drawings, and pictures, always had to destroy them when I moved from base to base. Would start over again when the feeling started coming back. So basically, he would collect these things from his victims and then he'd throw them all away, which is weird for a serial killer. Usually they can't
you don't throw away your trophies.
They can't let go of that shit, it's weird that he was able to do that. In his communication to police last year, BTK included disturbing drawings of naked and bound women. He was really good at drawing, but his grammar sucked. He could barely read. All the letters that he sent to the police all sounded like a caveman wrote it. Sometimes he wrote about his past. I would break in and steal underclothes for my private collection. And that's probably the most put together sentence that he has ever written. After Rader's arrest, investigators removed dozens of items from his backyard shed, including pantyhose, underwear, ropes, cord, and duct tape. In his early 30s, he claims he tried bondage on prostitutes. Some refused to see him again because I was too scary. Quote, I was too scary.
I'd assume that would be he was too scary.
Yep, he was too scary. That's him saying that. At age 32 to 34, I was getting the feeling again, and it was bad this time. He talked about reading detective magazines and paperbacks. Then he listed several serial killers. They all got caught except the Ripper. Could I become a killer and not get caught?
Why the fuck would you write that? What an idiot.
No shit.
What a fucking idiot.
Well, I think that this is during the trial. This is after he got caught.
Gotcha.
So he might as well just come out and say that shit. And
Jack the Ripper. I know you want to pounce on that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I found an article when I was scrolling online. Shout out to Mysterious Circumstances. This is how I actually found this article. Justin Remmel's group, the MC Nation. He has his own Facebook group for his podcast. You guys should go check it out. Mysterious Circumstances. Really good podcast. It's nothing but true crime and Old West stuff and any kind of mysteries whatsoever he covers. Go check out Mysterious Circumstances. But this is how I found the article on Jack the Ripper. And they may know who Jack the Ripper is. They found out that there was a Polish immigrant, Aaron Kosminski, that DNA evidence might link him to the crime. It's 130 years since these crimes were committed, and still nobody has come forward with any kind of evidence until the last couple days. So it just got me really excited. I'm not going to read through the whole article because this isn't about Jack the Ripper, but since we are talking about a serial killer, we might want to talk about one of the most prolific serial killers of all time, and he got away with it. Another one was Zodiac, the Zodiac killer. Now, he was one that was like Dennis Rader that would send letters to the police, and he'd have a code. He had a code to try and figure out who he was, but a lot of people think that the code was just bullshit and it was just to like throw them off. And since we're going through quotes of BTK, I figured we'd go through some of the poems that he wrote.
So my lovely boyfriend here is going to read me some beautiful poetry by yours truly, BTK.
No, it's not that kind of poetry. I'm going to have a poetry battle.
No.
No? You wouldn't like it if I started doing poetry battles?
That'd be weird.
Start wearing one of the funny hats? And a scarf and shit?
Do you get to wear the tights to go with it?
Yeah, apparently that's like, I gotta complete the ensemble.
I'd stare.
I probably would. Because you'd see my tiny penis. But this beautiful poem is entitled, "Oh, Death to Nancy."
That's beautiful, babe.
Beautiful. You have to forgive me because this guy's grammar was shitty and he tried to write poetry. This is what's terrible about this. What is this taut I can see? Cold icy hands taking hold of me. For death has come, you all can see. Hell has opened its gates to trick me. Oh death, can't you spare me? Over for another year. I'll stuff your jaws till you can't talk. I'll bind your legs till you can't walk. I'll tie your hands till you can't make a stand. And finally, I'll close your eyes so you can't see. I'll bring sexual death onto you for me. BTK.
Huh.
That was beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
No, that was fucking sick, dude. Like, oh my god. Like, this guy is fucking nutso in the head. Here's another one by him. This is the Black Friday poem. Just a quick glance, and I knew all was lost. I saw in real life, now a ongoing mind view, the black and white. We're now my new boss. He's fucking so terrible at grammar. I saw my life as I know quickly fade away. I saw my loved ones in mind and thoughts that I would never be able to touch, hold, communicate closely with and kiss with care. Now be at bay. I saw the black side of me was now caught, and others would not suffer from my lots. Okay, guy. But then it dawned on me it was not as I thought. Yes, the other in me will cause no suffering. The living remained, the mother, brother, sisters, children, close friends, and wife will suffer. And the real me of blood, flesh, and mind will suffer. Signed, The Suspect. 'Tis spring out there, oh, to walk among the new seasoning. Among the Cajun seasoning. No. 'Tis spring out there, oh, to walk among the new season, to heard a robin's voice, to see a dandelion bright, to watch a butterfly flight, to smell a simple flower bud. O spring, these are the many reasons. Dennis L. Rader, 4/16, 2005. So he must have wrote that while he was in jail.
I don't think he should be allowed to feel any of those senses.
No, he shouldn't be able to feel any fucking feelings anymore.
I hope he forgets what birds sound like.
Me too.
I hope he, I really want, like, the fleas of 1,000 camels to, like, go at his crotch.
The fleas of 1,000 camels.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, babe. That's pretty brutal. That's taking it to a whole new level. But yeah, I'm not going to read any more of his poetry because it's mind-numbing to try and read this bullshit. But he had many other quotes. There's a shorter quote that I do want to read. I just put it in one of the first letters. I was always surprised I put it up there first. I think it was bind, torture, kill. I put Poetic Strangler, the Wichita Strangler, the BTK Strangler, and they put the BTK on me. This is him talking about his name. He was trying to give himself the name, the BTK name, and he gave them a bunch of choices to choose from in one of his letters. And the choices were the Poetic Stranger, the Wichita Strangler, BTK Strangler, and he's saying that they just put BTK on him because he put bind, torture, kill somewhere in the letter. He was kind of upset that
you didn't get a cool nickname, huh?
He didn't. Well, I mean, honestly, bind, torture, kill is kind of, it's kind of badass. But I mean, he didn't get to choose it. Even if it was really, really cool, cooler than any name he's ever heard of, he didn't get to choose it. He didn't have the control. So it drove him nuts,
I could see that making him crazier.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody else thought of something cooler than I thought of. But that's enough of the fucking quotes from this fucking psychopathic retard. Now, you gotta remember that this guy was a father, too. He was a father. He was a husband.
Like, how do you come home to your wife?
I have no fucking idea.
I just got done, killing the neighbor and masturbating all over her
Skating
house.
all over the house. Just skate.
How you doing tonight?
Skate. He's skating in the corner.
Oh my god, babe.
He's skating in the fucking bathroom. He's skating in the litter box. Skating on the cat. We should make a t-shirt of BTK just like masturbating all around a house. Think that'd be a good idea?
Nope.
No? And just put Conspiracy Asylum.
And we live like 500 feet from a school.
That'd be so fucking bad.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, like I was saying, that he was a father, he was a husband, and his daughter just came out recently, within the last year, within the last couple months. This is 2019 right now. This is March 18th, 2019 to be exact. And there's an article written January 23rd, 2019, very close to my baby's birthday. Only 3 days off. She's going to be 30 next year, guys.
Dirty 30.
She is. I'm already 30, and I feel like I'm 75.
Yeah, well, 29 doesn't exactly feel like 21 anymore.
No. I am old as shit.
So, introduce his daughter then. Who is she?
His daughter's name is Carrie Rawson. And she changed her name, I do believe, which I don't really blame her. I don't know if she changed it.
Well, she could have gotten married and changed her last name.
I guess she could have, but I really wouldn't blame her for wanting to change it. I know that the Dahmer family, I do believe, had to change their names. I'm not 100% on that, but David Dahmer went into hiding. No one's even been able to really find him because he doesn't want anything to do with anybody because of his brother. Which I don't...
Can't blame him there either.
Exactly. You can't fucking blame him for that shit. And it fucking sucks that now the last name that you have is tainted because of one relative of yours being a dumbass.
I can relate to that one. I can relate to that one really good.
Well, not to that level, though.
Right, not to that level.
No,
but
not everywhere and anywhere you go, they hear your last name like Hitler. Imagine having Hitler as your last name. Or Mussolini.
Imagine having Wenker
as
a last name.
Okay, it's not as bad as Hitler.
I know.
Not even close.
Do they have anybody? I'd love to hear. If we have a fan base out there and your last name is Hitler, I want to fucking hear from you.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Hit us up. Send us pictures of your butthole.
No, tell us why you either love or hate your last name.
And pictures of your butthole.
Per his request, make sure you hit that up at Long Dong Schwartz. It's Long Dong.
It's just Long Dong. Long Dong at conspiracyasylum.com. Go ahead and hit me up with your butthole pics.
You'd look if you ended up having some.
Oh my god, that would be so fucked up. That's why I don't have a Snapchat. Because I requested pictures left and right and no one sent me anything yet. But if we had Snapchat, it'd be a little too easy, I think. People get drunk. Hey, remember that guy on the podcast that wanted me to show him my butthole? Let's do it. No. Alright, but his daughter ended up writing a book. And I can't imagine how this woman is feeling. Because her entire life. Because if she's, 40 now? It says that she's 40 years old now. That means that she was alive and completely conscious when this shit was happening. She was like Paige's age. Like, what the fuck, man?
Right, let's just go murder, the Otero family. They got kids. And I'm just going to come home to my daughter and sit on the couch and snuggle with her and pretend nothing happened.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked.
It's fucked up.
That's really fucked.
Okay, so Carrie Rawson has spent nearly 14 years trying to shake the memory of that morning in February of 2005 when an FBI agent showed up at the front door with devastating news. Dennis Rader, the doting, protective, 59-year-old father. What if I would have just said Dennis Rader, the doting? What that was his superpower.
He's just doting.
He's gonna dote the shit out of you. Now, Dennis Rader, the doting, protective, 59-year-old father, she thought she knew had just been arrested for 10 unimaginably savage murders and unmasked as the serial killer known as BTK, standing for Bind, Torture, Kill, a name he had created for himself while terrorizing the family's hometown of Wichita, Kansas, between 1974 and 1991. It took more than 10 years before I could even sit across from someone and even talk about this. Rawson tells people in this week's cover story, nobody wants to believe their father could be capable of such monstrous acts. Now Rawson, 40, has written a book, A Serial Killer's Daughter. The book is about how her horror and anger were complicated by the love she had felt for her father, as well as the terrible toll his double life had taken on her family. I couldn't imagine, man.
Which her book just came out January 29th of this year, guys.
That would be very interesting.
I'd go read it.
Yeah, even though I haven't read it, I'll recommend it right now because there's no way that that's not interesting.
The sheer savagery of her father's crimes hasn't made her journey easy. Rader often stalked his victims, most of whom he strangled slowly after binding their arms and legs with rope for months, then hid mementos from his kills in the floorboards beneath the family's linen closet. Memories of the morning her life was turned upside down still haunt Rawson, whose husband Darian was at work when the FBI agent appeared at the front door of their Detroit area apartment. Reluctantly, she let the agent inside, and moments later he began to tell her why he'd come. "Have you heard of BTK?" he asked Rawson, who was unaware that her father had just been arrested by dozens of police officers after detectives had linked him to the killings through a floppy disk BTK had recently sent to them, taunting them that he was about to kill again.
A floppy.
A floppy.
I think you sent him a floppy disk.
So he sent a floppy in 2004, 2005?
Yeah.
That's almost obsolete at that point.
Right. It wasn't the floppy disks. It was the little plastic ones.
Yeah, that's what I grew up with, but even then that's still
Do you remember the floppy floppies?
No, I don't.
Oh, really? They were a lot bigger.
I had the colored ones that you could see through.
Yeah, those were
fun.
Those are the 3.5-inch ones. And then they had the real floppies that were 6 inches.
Oh, and those are hard
huge.
Plastic and that weird off-white
and
color.
they were floppy.
I don't remember waving them around, but, I don't have a wiener to wave around either, so I don't wave
Anything
things.
I can wave, I wave.
Rawson was confused by the question. It seemed like such a weird thing to bring up, she recalls. Suddenly I was thinking, Mom's been murdered. My mind started making these illogical leaps because I was so scared and frightened.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine what's going through her head, because she's not thinking at first that her dad is a fucking murderer.
As her mind raced and she tried to make sense of his words, she heard the agent say something about her father being a murderer. In her panic and confusion, Rawson began thinking, "My God, my father murdered my mom." I felt like I was going to pass out. I was falling apart, holding on to the wall above the stove, and I told him, "I need to sit down." Over the next few hours, a terrible truth began to sink in, and years would pass before any semblance of normalcy would return to her life. Her father would ultimately plead guilty to the 10 murders, and is now serving a 175-year sentence. "I was just trying to stay alive and breathe," Rawson recalls, of the day that she learned the horrible truth, trying to recover from the shock, telling myself over and over that I'd do anything not to be the daughter of a serial killer.
It's saying that there was a 2020 interview. I would love to see that. That would be cool to see, the 2020 interview with her. You go your whole fucking life, you're 40 years old.
Why do you look high?
Because I just scratched my eye.
Your eyes are really glossed over and you're just peering over the computer at me. What did you do?
Got any ho-hos?
What did you do while I was reading that?
I don't fucking smoke weed no more, but some days I wish I did. But I don't. I don't feel like I need that shit. I don't know, guys. It's pretty fucked up. I mean, you go your whole entire life thinking you know your family, and you think you know what's going on around you. We were talking about, how many times in your life? 16 times you're going to walk by a killer? Mm-hmm. Or something. We were debating about what constitutes a murderer.
Honest to God, though, when Carrie had said, "My God, my dad killed my mom."
Yeah.
I've had that thought before
right.
about my parents and how brutal they fight, and they're about the same age.
She didn't say that. She said that my mom was murdered.
Right.
She didn't even think her dad was involved. She just thought that my mom is murdered.
No, and then her next thought was, "Oh my God, my dad murdered my mom."
Right.
That's what I was referring to. I've been there.
But I suppose.
I've thought that before, but no, my parents get into pretty brutal altercations.
Right. But this is so fucked up. I couldn't imagine, and I couldn't imagine being Dennis Rader. I'm a father, and I'm pretty much a husband.
Yeah, you basically are.
Living a double life like that, not only would it be hard to keep it under wraps, how do you stay sane? At all. How do you keep your shit together? You can't share anything with anybody.
I couldn't do it.
Me neither. I need, like, some form of transparency in my life. If you're doing that, you have zero transparency, you know? So, really, there's no opinions for this one.
I've noticed that. There's really no conspiracy theory behind it whatsoever.
No, it was just a true crime one that I wanted to cover. Yeah, I guess I could ask. All right. So, going over everything in this, listening to this guy and everything like that, what is your opinion on rehabilitating people like this? Do you think that people with this much going on in their head, do you think they could be rehabilitated?
No, I feel like this is the kind that would probably, if he had the chance, he'd likely kill again, honest to God. I don't feel like he's able to be rehabilitated. Honestly, I don't know. I can see maybe if he accidentally murdered somebody, we'll call it an accidentally murdered.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if it was just a one-time thing, maybe. But if you're a fucking serial killer and you're like, you get off to killing people, it's going to just keep on, like, pushing you to do it again and again. So, no, absolutely not. I feel like I really wish that he would have just gotten the needle and, you know, been done with it.
Right. So you think that he should have gotten the death penalty?
Actually, yes, I do.
Yeah?
Because that's really fucking sick and twisted.
Oh, for sure. No, I agree with you there. So, now when it comes to other criminals, though, when it comes to other serial killers, not even just serial killers, when it comes to, like, a person that committed one murder, that killed one person ever in their entire life, and say they just shot him, and they shot him out of cold blood just because they hated the motherfucker. The person didn't do anything wrong to them. Well, maybe even the person did something wrong to them, but nothing violent, nothing like that would even close to constitute them murdering them. Do you think we should try and rehabilitate a person like that?
I would say yes, but I would definitely make sure that that person never has access to firearms ever again. Right. You know, take away all the sharp objects. You know, you no longer get steak knives. You get to eat your fucking steak with a spoon. Yes.
Good luck eating steak ever. But I guess my opinion on all that shit is Dennis Rader. I hate the death penalty. I really do. I mean, I might not, you know, convey that all the time, but the death penalty to me is so final that it being an option there, and if you get wrongly convicted, there's no going back from that. That's what really sucks about the death penalty. Now, in situations like this, where somebody has confessed, and there's not a shadow of a doubt anywhere that this person is guilty or not guilty. There's no shadow of a doubt anywhere that this person could be innocent at all. So they're completely guilty. They've admitted they're guilty. They've admitted to all their crimes. I believe that motherfucker should be sent to death. I honestly do believe that. And it might be hypocritical because other situations, I don't believe that. I don't think the death penalty really should be legal.
Okay, here's a kind of off-topic but kind of on-topic question for you.
Yes.
What about pedophiles? Do you feel like they can be rehabilitated?
History has showed us that they can't.
See, now, like...
But the problem is... Now, the thing is, though, is... Could they be rehabilitated to the point where they do not offend? I think it depends on... It's person to person on that. Now, there was that documentary we were talking about, the guy that hasn't done anything to any kid, hasn't looked up any kind of porn, hasn't done anything like that, but he knows he's a pedophile. I believe a person like that could be rehabilitated. Now, is there an option for him? No. Do I think there should be? Yes. I think there should be some type of option for somebody that's coming forward and saying that. Now, in the way I think that's just a person with self-control problems. I think that something got fucked up when they were a kid, and... How
do you feel if they were to be castrated? Do you feel like the public...
I don't think that would be anything. As much as I joke about it, as much as I say take out the nicotine and start chopping the dicks off.
Well, yeah, now you gotta sit down to pee.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is I don't think that really solves anything, because they still got arms and legs, and they got plenty of ways to still hurt a kid.
True story, I guess.
You know? So, just because you castrate them doesn't mean that they're not going to do the shit again. So, like, the castration thing, I think people go straight to that just because of the obvious reasons.
I mean, if it's a serial rapist, heck yeah, go for it. Fucking fry
What do
his
they
nuts
do to
off.
a woman then? Fucking cauterize it? Close it up?
They certainly could.
They smooth her down there? Just make it smooth. But
You get 2 holes now, lady.
no shit. I think there should be an option for people that come forward and say, hey, I've got a problem. I haven't committed any crimes. And no matter what it is, I don't ever want to defend a pedophile, because I think the pedophiles are the scum of the fucking earth. And I don't think it's a disorder of any sort. I think it's something where there's something really fucked in the head. But when you think about it, everybody that's fucked in the head, what do? We try and rehabilitate them. Now, somebody that's already offended, though, and has gotten, if they get a little sense of that, then they're going to go back and do it, because they know how easy it is, no matter what the consequence is. Now, someone that hasn't had that, and they're really trying to fix their problem, that means that they're not trying to get out of any trouble at that point in time, you know? People that say, oh, I can be rehabilitated, they're already in prison. Well, yeah, they're going to say that because they want to get out of prison.
Mm-hmm, I agree there.
Now, people that aren't in any trouble, that haven't offended, maybe they should be rehabilitated. Maybe there should be some type of option for them.
But now I just kind of feel like, we're trying to fix gay and straight,
That's with gay and straight, though, is my opinion. You're born gay.
Right.
You're born gay, you're born straight. You are not born a pedophile. I don't believe that at all.
Right, but I mean...
Pedophiles are created. They're not born. You're born... I'm probably going to piss some people off right fucking here. But you're born a boy or a girl. You are born either gay or straight. You are born with certain things pre-programmed in you, and I'm a firm believer in that. Now, someone that says, hey, we're going to let our baby choose their own gender.
And this baby's like, what, 3?
Yeah, they call them maybes.
Maybe.
Yes. They literally call them maybes, and there's crazy people out there that say that they're not going to call their kid a boy or a girl until they decide what they want to be.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
like
not
that's
a bigot.
wrong.
Yeah, I'm not a bigot or anything like that, but you're born with a penis, you're a boy. Come on now. This is it, like the girl that was on Dr. Phil that said that she was white and she's black. Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not.
She's black and she's like talking shit about black people and saying that she's white and she doesn't act like black people and shit. It's the most insulting thing. I'm a white person and I felt insulted. Like, for real. Like, this bitch, she deserved like a fucking backhand. And she was like a teenager. And she believed that she was a white woman.
So she has like Michael
black.
Jackson syndrome.
It reminded me of Clayton Bigsby off of the Chappelle Show, where he was a blind black white supremacist.
Oh my god.
If you guys want to go check that out, go look up Chappelle Show, Clayton Bigsby, black white supremacist, and you will lap your ass off. Lap it off. And we're in production of the BTK shirts of him skeeting all over homes.
Nope, I do not have a hand in that.
And I'm going to start making little stuffed armadillos with forceps so we can have a gynecologist armadillo.
He deserves a helmet, guys. He needs it in hot pink.
I don't think I can be rehabilitated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, on a serious note, guys, again, we really care about your mental health. We make a lot of jokes here, but Kim knows how sincere I am about this, and I know how sincere she is about this. If you guys need help, get help. I say it all the time. If you need help, get help. The suicide hotline number is 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. Go ahead and hit them up. You can also text them or email them. You don't even have to talk to them on the phone. If you need help from a professional, please get that help. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything. If you have insurance through your work, ask them. Because they, at my work, at the very least, they've given me the little card that you can call, and it's just like the suicide hotline number, but it's an actual therapist. Well, it's actual therapist suicide hotline number.
We
too.
have community outreach at ours.
Right. It's kind of like that. But go ahead and check with your employer. A lot of people carry this. It's a very common program, and usually it's free. But if you don't need professional help, reach out to one of your friends. Say hi.
Check on your friends who have small children. They're
Yes.
not okay.
Exactly.
Take the kids for an hour and let mom or dad take a nap.
Right. Well, yeah, and not only that is like, if you haven't talked to your mom, if you haven't talked to your brother or sister.
Go call your mom, damn it.
Yeah, call your mom. Why don't you call your mom? But no.
I'll call your mom.
Yeah, you will. Hi, Mom. But no. Seriously, though, if you see someone sitting by themselves at lunch at school or at work, if you're in school and you're listening to this, I'm very sorry. But seriously, you're at school or work, you see somebody that's down and out when you're out in public. If you see somebody that's just not feeling that good, if you feel comfortable enough yourself, go up and say hi. You might make that person's day. So really, that's all we got here. Remember the trivia question from this week? It was on our previous episode, Hitler's Escape, and the question was, where did Hitler escape to that wasn't Argentina, the South Pole, or somewhere in the U.S.? So it wasn't those three. There was one more option that we talked about, and the clue is, it's out of this world. Go ahead, hit us up, theconspiracyasylum@gmail.com, or you can hit me up, longdong@conspiracyasylum.com, or you can hit Kim up at kim@conspiracyasylum.com. You also can reach us at our various points of contact, which are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Patreon. $1 to $10 get 2 bonus episodes every month, plus sticker and letter, and you get to choose $5 gets to choose a topic every month, and $10 gets to choose a topic every month, and you get to be on the show once. Go ahead, go check everything out at patreon.com/conspiracyasylum. We've got 3 patrons now, and we're very grateful for every penny we get. If you can't donate, it's okay. You can go on there. I put a bunch of shit on there that's not even just for our patrons. It's out there in the public. So go ahead and check it out. But also a reminder about that is that if you do pay that $1 to $10, you also get those 2 free episodes every month, the 2 bonus episodes, and all the ones that were on there previously. So you get the whole catalog of all the Patreon exclusive episodes. Remember that. If you can donate enough begging for the money.
All right. And I also just want to say thank you to all of our supporters and fans for listening.
Yes. Yeah, even not just our patrons. Everybody that's been listening and giving us good feedback and sharing our shit.
Or even correcting any of our mistakes. We really do appreciate it.
No, we really do. And we're really grateful for how big this podcast has actually gotten. We're not huge, but it's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. So, we're very grateful, guys. Thank you. Your padded cell is now open. You may leave. Say bye, babe.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Go to the stairs. Bye.